The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our August seminar series, as I like to call this, seminars on the dock, if you would, seminars in your cottage, seminars at your office, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, good day, everybody, and thank you very much for coming and participating in our session. We've got, it looks like just under 50 people on the call today, so we're pretty excited about that, and it's a great day to earn a CE credit, that's for sure. We'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Benefits Trust. We are a full-service third-party benefit administration company. We work directly with brokers like you. We were established on January 1st, 1994, so just over 25 years, or 25 years, 8 months, and 13 days we've been in business exactly. So we're pretty excited about that. For signing up for today's presentation, you will receive, shortly after this presentation, you will receive a CE certificate for participating, so thank you. In addition to that, you'll be signed up to our Trusted Advisor newsletter, and as important, you will be receiving a very short survey, and the survey, I think, is about 3 or 4 or 5 questions, but it's going to take you less than a minute to fill it out. And one of the questions on that survey is actually looking for some feedback on future seminar topics that you'd like to see covered. So make sure you fill it out and give us your idea, give us your feedback, of course, on how we can do it better, but also give us some idea on future webinar topics, because we're going to be putting together our fall webinar series very shortly. So again, welcome, and we're excited about this. The best part about webinars is they miss the traffic. You know, it's interesting talking about traffic. Traffic is in some cases it's an awful lot lighter this time of the year because of because a lot of people are on vacation. But it depends on where you're going. Yesterday afternoon I had a meeting down in St. Catharines with a broker and some clients, and I've never seen the QEW between Hamilton and St. Catharines like that. It was just bumper to bumper traffic, and it was absolutely insane. And the border waits were actually over an hour, so that's what the warning signs were saying. So I guess there was just a lot of people traveling yesterday down in that neck of the woods. But anyways, the good news is seminars miss the traffic. You're in the comfort of your office, you're in the comfort of your home. Hopefully some of you are at the comfort of your cottage and or vacation spots, and you're participating today. So they miss the traffic, but we take your time seriously that you're spending with us, and we want to make the most out of this hour. So thank you very much for attending, and we look forward to making this of value to you. My name is Robert Crowder. I'm the president and founder of the Benefits Trust. I'm the guy on the right-hand side. Mike Ignatz is the gentleman on the left-hand side. He's our moderator today.
Good morning, everybody.
Mike's also going to be chirping in from time to time throughout today's presentation to add some value. If you have any questions throughout the seminar, just enter them into the question box on your screen, and Mike will answer them directly online, or we'll answer them with the remainder of the time that we have in the presentation. So what we want to talk about today is delivering the one or a few life case profitably. So delivering these micro cases, as I like to call them, and how do you do that profitably? And it's interesting because I've been in the insurance business for 30 years now. Actually, 31 next week. 31 years, Mike, next week. What do you think of that?
I think that's very impressive.
There you go. I've been in the insurance business longer than I've been married. There you go. 31 years next week. And for those 31 years, I've always been active in the group insurance business. And it's interesting because even though you say you work in groups with 25 lives or more, or 50 lives or more, or 1,000 lives or more, it doesn't really matter. But people find out you're in the group insurance business, whether you're at a party or whether you're at a backyard barbecue or, a golf club or wherever it is that you hang out, and you're always going to find that one person or that someone that you're going to meet somewhere, and they go, "Oh, you're in the group insurance business. Can you help me? I've only got 2 employees, but I really need benefits." So often that comes into play, or it's just me. Is there any way I can get benefits? I own a, whatever type of business it is, and how do I get benefits? And then you sort of going, oh my gosh, how do we do this, and how do we do it so we don't spend a lot of time on it? But how do we do it so we can maximize the profitability of it? And that's really sort of the approach that we've taken when we're putting together this webinar, but more specifically when we put together this product. that we're going to be introducing today and the solution that we're going to be introducing today, it's really based on that. It's how to get to yes very quickly and how to maximize your profit, as well as, and you're maximizing your profit by maximizing the value that you're going to be giving your end user client. It's not about maximizing the profit to us with no value. It's about maximizing the value. And as a result of maximizing the value, you're maximizing the profit. So, and yes, folks, we are talking about employee benefits here. So people go, what? What are you talking about? This isn't employee benefits. That's not how employee benefits people speak when we're talking about these micro cases. No, but yes, we're talking about employee benefits. So our goal and objective for the next 1.0 CE credits, or the next hour or 55 minutes that we're going to spend together, we want to talk to sort of create that foundation. What is an employee benefit plan? We want to talk about what different components make up an employee benefit plan, because whether you have a plan for one, or you got a plan for 10, or a plan for 100, 1,000, or 10,000, these components exist in any employee benefit program. What plans are available, we want to talk about. We want to introduce the Smart Business Owners Benefit Plan, which is a solution that can maximize value for these small clients, as well as maximize your profit. We also want to help determine what plan works best for your clients with one simple question. One simple question. That's all we're talking about here. It's awesome. And we want to talk about dealing with objections. That's something that we all need to deal with, but it's dealing with objections. And we want to talk about one solution, and there's two paths to go down. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today, and we want to do that through a number of ways, but we want to show you I always like case studies myself, but it's always, 3 case studies where you can sort of see where it's worked and what's happened and how it's worked for these end user clients. So the market context, what we're talking about is this group of 1 to a few. As I like to say, as a third-party benefit administration company, we work with different groups and we put them into different categories. It's those groups of 1 to a few to a bunch, and a bunch to many, right? So instead of putting a defined number on it, it's just groups of 1 to a few employees. There has to be T4 earnings. Excuse me, there has to be T4 earnings. So the business owner needs to be taking money out of the company if they want to provide benefits to themselves in the term of T4 earnings. And I like to say they got to be profitable. They've got to be profitable, ideally in that 50% tax bracket. Their business is good and they mean it. This is not for people that just started out in business and they're looking to replace their benefit plan from the bank they used to work at. This is for people that have been in business. They understand where their next paycheck is coming from. Their business is good. They mean it. They're paying tax. They're in business. Anything to add there, Mike?
Yeah, if you're hoping to crack 30 grand this year, it's really not going to be of value to you.
If you're hoping to crack 30 grand this year, yeah, it's really not going to be of value to you because you're not going to be buying kids braces anyway. But anyway, so it's really that. Another way to look at it is, or another bullet point we can put on there, the group of 1 to a few, T4 earnings, profitable, 50% tax bracket, business is good. And, they got to have a problem. They have to have a need for benefits. They truly have to have a need for benefits. What we like to see is sick rich people, joking aside, but really and we all know people that are sick and rich, and I shouldn't say sick, it's just people that need benefits. And that's really what it is. And if your expenses throughout a benefit year are $500 because you don't take any drugs, you just go to the dentist once a year, it's not really that, you don't have a huge need for benefits. It's people that need benefits. So the question becomes, how do we deliver that employee benefit plan for that one person or the few people profitably? And that's what we want to talk about. And the answer is easy. Quite simply, you just have to get to yes or no in 10 minutes and maximize the contributions going in to the program, which maximizes your commissions. So you want this to cost more, not less. And you want them to be able to say yes, or you want them to say no with very, very little effort. All right? So you want to get their attention and you want to get them to say yes or no. And you want to tell them that, hey, the way we're going to approach this is how do we maximize the amount of value that we're going to create for you, which means maximizing the amount of money that's going to go into your plan, because this is really just a tax play more than it is a tax and protection play more than it is looking for the cheapest price. So what is an employee benefit plan? An employee benefit plan is a promise between an employer and an employee. Now, again, an employee benefit plan is that promise between that employer and employee, and whether you've got 1 employee, 10 employees, 100 employees, or 1,000 employees, it's still that promise. And it's interesting because when you're an entrepreneur And when you own a business and it's an active business and you've got one employee and that's you, you are also the employer and the employee. You are wearing two hats. You are making different decisions with different hats on. The hats might be interchangeable, but I'm using this illustration to make a point. You make decisions about your business wearing the employer's hat. And the employer's hat, you're going to be making decisions about the future direction of your business, where you're going. You're going to be making administrative decisions about paying taxes and so on. And as an employee, you're going to be making different decisions about, hey, my job is to grow this business. I'm going to be selling more, etc. So you're wearing those two distinct hats. And an employee benefit plan is a promise between that employer and employee. And yes, they can be the same, but they're two different decisions. The benefit promise often has three components. Doesn't always, but often has three components. And again, whether you got one employee or 10 employees or 100 employees or 1,000, there's an element of insurance associated with an employee benefit program. There's an element of reimbursement associated with an employee benefit program. And there's one of administration. And all three of those components are an important makeup of an employee benefit program. So the insurance that's located or included in any employee benefit program, again, regardless of the size, is there to protect the promise. It's there to protect the promise. Interesting. Think about that. It's there to protect the promise from catastrophic, sudden, unexpected events. One of the side effects of it is it protects the employees and their family potentially, but it also is but really it's there to protect the integrity of the promise so it continues into perpetuity against catastrophic, sudden, unexpected events. And when we're talking about these micro cases, the opportunity that exists where we can provide group insurance per se, where we're buying this stuff in bulk, is for out-of-country emergency medical coverage or out-of-country care, as well as large in Canada drug claims in excess of 5,000 or 7,500 or 10,000, whatever the case may be. But it's really, we can't provide group life insurance at this point. We're working with some providers to help us with this, but we can't provide long-term disability insurance and so on. And so it's really, the insurance is limited, but it's for these two items: out-of-country emergency medical expenses and large in Canada drug claims. The reimbursement, and it's the reimbursement of routine health and dental expenses. The reimbursement comes in, again, for those routine health and dental expenses. And what is routine? Well, CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, has a list of eligible expenses, but routine is whatever your smart business owner client has. Because what's routine for me might be very not routine for Mike, for example. Because Mike and I are both considered family as defined by the CRA and defined by traditional carriers with respect to employee benefits. But I might have very different expenses than Mike. So it really depends on what your business owner defines as routine. For example, my wife has adult orthodontia. She just recently got their braces off, but for about 3 or 4 years she had adult orthodontia. That was a routine expense for me, not something for Mike. Mike might be needing orthodontia for his kids in a couple of years, but
Definitely.
yeah, definitely.
Got mom's teeth.
Yeah, I got mom's teeth, got mom's mouth, as I like to say. Yeah, but that's not routine for me because my kids are well grown. So anyways, what's routine? So things like prescription drugs, basic or major dental, registered massage therapy. It's something that I don't participate in at all. I don't like massages for whatever reason. Physiotherapy, I do a lot of that. Laser eye surgery, dental implants, orthodontia. Something very interesting, private school tuition or tutoring for dependents with learning disabilities. It's amazing some of the claims we see there, but those are routine things for certain people. So this is a list that can go on for slides and slides and slides and slides and slides, but the list is very comprehensive on all the things that can be covered under a benefit program. Things like private school tuition often aren't known. Private school tuition for your clients' dependents with learning disabilities. Well, it's interesting because the public school system really doesn't do well with people with learning abilities or different learning abilities. And there's a lot of schools out there that focus on these things. And if you've got clients that are wealthy, they are sourcing out these schools and they are sending their kids to these schools, to help with their future successes. And some of those schools can be extraordinarily expensive. All of that can be covered under a benefit plan. Powerful stuff. Administration, third component that makes up an employee benefit program. Regardless of the size of the plan, whether it's one person, 10 people, 100 people, or 1,000 people, you've got to document the promise. You've got to adjudicate claims. You've got to remit taxes, really critical. You got to pay commissions. There's ongoing service requirements. We've got to provide financial statements. This is a plan. So if an auditor ever looked at a plan from a CRA perspective, they want to see the plan document. They want to see the adjudication process or the claims have been adjudicated. They want to make sure that taxes have been remitted. They want to make sure that it's an actual plan as opposed to a scheme. So it's important to note that all of these things from an administration perspective have to be in place and have to be ongoing for the plan to be an eligible expense, an eligible tax deductible expense. So remember one thing, regardless of all of this, an employee benefit plan is a fully tax deductible business expense. So again, you got that individual who is making a decision wearing that black top hat that we want to make a promise to an employee who is the same person but wearing, the other hat, saying, hey, great, we're going to provide a benefit plan to you and it's going to provide you with 100% coverage of all of your upcoming expenses. And then the guy's going to put on his other hat, his employee hat, and say, thank you very much. And then the employer is going to go, great, we're doing this. And I'm going to provide you with some insurance protection, and we're going to take care of all the administration because I got my black hat on, and all of this is a tax-deductible business expense. Awesome. Smart business owners, so when business owners understand this to a great extent, and especially wealthy and smart business owners, when they understand this, all of a sudden the light goes off in their head, and they go, I want all of my expenses covered by an employee benefit program. Yep. That's what I want. I want all of my expenses covered by an employee benefit program, not some of them, not a few of them. I want all of them covered because it's a tax-deductible business expense and I receive the benefit tax-free. Simple as that.
And business owners sometimes will have a 100% plan with Manulife. Maybe they have with their 3 employees, but there's often a lot of things that aren't covered in full on those plans. And every single time that they have to pay out of pocket with after-tax dollars, they get frustrated.
I was going to say pissed off, but yeah, frustrated is the appropriate and the appropriate word. But yes, and it's interesting. Myself personally, as a business owner, I don't mind spending money, but I love spending tax-deductible dollars more than I like to spend after-tax dollars. As simple as that. So, as well as that, smart business owners, if they've got 1 employee or 2 employees, they also want to create a plan, a sustainable plan for their employees. So they might not necessarily, when you've got that 1 life or 2 life or 3 life case with Manulife or Great West Life or Empire Life, there's not a great deal of flexibility that you can put in these micro type plans where we're saying, hold on a second, a lot of business owners want to provide a lot of benefits for themselves, but they just want to provide a manageable plan for their employees so it goes on for some time. So that's really sort of the approach that we're coming at. So we've got some clients that say, I just want everything covered. I don't care what it's going to cost. I just want to make sure that everything is going to be covered. Don't care. We got a lot of clients like that. And we have some clients that say, I just want to make sure that this or these particular expenses are covered. Because my wife is going to be a school teacher, or my husband works for the city of Toronto, or my husband, works for IBM and has a great plan, and my wife is a school principal and she's got a great plan. Whatever the circumstances are, but hey, we want to make sure that the twins' braces are covered, or orthodontia is covered, or we want to make sure that this private school tuition is covered, because all of the other expenses are covered under another plan, or most of the other expenses. So they just want certain expenses covered. So we got some clients that say, hey, great, we want everything covered. And other clients that say, hey, geez, we just want these things covered, right? And then we've got some clients that say, hey, I want to offer something to my employees without breaking the bank. We've had a lot of conversations over the last couple of years with clients that have said, yeah, we used to have an employee benefit program, but we canceled it because it got too expensive for all of the employees. It was too much. And they didn't really appreciate it and value it and so on. So they were buying that packaged product off the shelf where it just didn't make a great deal of sense. So what's the best solution? Defined benefit or defined contribution? Yes, and we're talking about employee benefit programs. Defined benefit. The benefit is clearly defined. 100% coverage. Everything is covered. 100% of all CRA eligible expenses. Terrific. It's a defined benefit plan. The benefit is 100% health, 100% dental, 100% vision, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or this or these expenses covered is defined contribution. Okay, I want a healthcare spending account equal to, for example, $12,000, $1,000 a month. I want this or these expenses covered. I want these $12,000 of expenses covered. So that's a defined contribution. And again, you're looking at it from a black hat perspective. From that employer's perspective, you're saying, hey, Mr. Employee or Mrs. Employee, we want to give you a benefit plan that covers everything, or we want to give you a benefit plan that covers these things. Right? So it's either going to be defined contribution or defined benefit. Defined benefit, everything covered. What we're talking about here is 100% of all CRA expenses, emergency out of country travel coverage, and that stop loss for those large in Canada claims. That's a defined benefit plan, and it works and works well for people that just want to have everything covered. What is unknown here is the cost. Just like in a pension plan, a defined benefit pension plan, the cost is unknown. So, how do we deal with that? Well, what we do is we estimate what the claims are with the client. The client estimates what the claims are going to be, and we set a budget accordingly. Contributions are made monthly based on that budget. If somebody's going to spend $12,000 a year in claims, that's what they think they're going to spend. We ask for contributions to be made monthly, just like any benefit program would have. And those contributions, for example, might be $500 for health and $500 for dental. That's $1,000 and $12,000 a year. We send the client monthly financial statements, and we send you, the producer, monthly financial statements. And on those monthly financial statements is either going to be a positive or a negative balance. And once a year, we sit down and we either pay, or the client either pays us because we paid out more than that $12,000 in claims, or we refund the client because they paid out less than that, or they claimed less than that $12,000 of expenses, and we reestablish the budget annually. It's as simple as that. Money comes in, money goes out. If they don't spend it all, they're in a surplus. If they spend more, they're in a deficit. Simple as that.
And just to be clear, if there's a deficit, it's not like we hold a gun to their head and say, your plan's going to be canceled unless you give us this money by this time. Usually we're recovering it over the next 12 or 24 months.
Yeah, all of a sudden or what you're saying, Mike, is we just reestablish the budget to include a surplus or to include a deficit and take that into account. Right, and what we're talking about here, this is a one-person budgeted ASO plan. It's interesting, but when you think about it, it makes nothing but sense. It's a one-person budgeted ASO plan. There's a lot of brokers out there that we talked to, and it was interesting. I was in Ottawa a couple months ago when I was sitting in the Shore Club, and Mike, I just noticed my little clicker here. The batteries are dying here. We'll replace those. Anyways, I was sitting in the Shore Club at the Westin Hotel, and I was chatting with this gentleman. He goes, "I would never do a budgeted. I would never do an ASO plan for a group with less than 100 employees." And I said, "Well, that's fascinating." This is another group insurance broker. And then I, explained this situation to him, and, I changed his mind because it makes sense. I just want everything covered. I'm going to pay for it anyway. Why don't I just pay for it through a benefit plan and set a budget? It's a budgeted ASO plan. The opposite side of the equation is true, a defined contribution plan. Someone that just wants this or these expenses covered, or someone wants to offer a benefit plan, with a basic budget in mind. It's as simple as that. So what we offer in this case is a defined contribution plan with the healthcare spending account, emergency out of country coverage, and stop loss. It's simple as that. A healthcare spending account, the best way I can illustrate this is the plan sponsor is giving the employee a bucket of money. It's like me giving Mike a bucket of money that he can use for him and his family for eligible expenses. Or it's the black hat giving the white hat a bucket of money that the employee can use.
A bucket of tax-free money.
Thank you, Michael. Bucket of tax-free money. The plan sponsor, the black hat, is giving the white hat a bucket of tax-free money or tax-deductible money that the employee, the white hat, can use to reimburse themselves for those eligible CRA expenses. Unused account balance can be carried forward into the next benefit year if you want. So it's a defined contribution. So regardless of if let's use that $12,000 example, let's just say, for example, the black hat puts $12,000 into the bucket, $1,000 a month, and the employee has $14,000 in claims. Well, $12,000 is going to come out of the bucket, and the $2,000 that they have over that $12,000, that 14 to make up the $14,000 in claims, is going to come out of their pocket. Not the most tax effective way, but it still works. So the cost is known. The amount that you are going to claim is really unknown, just as I illustrated in that example. So the monthly cost, how to figure out the monthly cost is easy. It's the monthly cost of the insurance plus 1/12 of the annual healthcare spending account plus administration and taxes, and that's the monthly contribution. One thing that's important to note is, after you claim the annual healthcare spending account amount, then you've got to reach into your pocket and pay with after-tax dollars. So it's really good for people that have a very good idea on what expenses they want covered, or a very specific idea on what expenses they want covered for, again, the kids' braces or whatever the circumstances are, or they've got a very particular budget in mind. For example, they've got 2 employees where they just want to offer them $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 as part of their compensation through a healthcare spending account with some insurance protection as well.
And of course, if the owner does want those extra expenses covered, we can do cost plus. Just should be avoided where possible because it's a CRA red flag.
And in addition to that, well, it's not so much a CRA red flag, but it's just, it is kind of sort of, but it's just cumbersome.
Yeah.
It's cumbersome. So what's the best benefit plan? Simple as that. What's the best benefit plan? Well, as I like to say, ask the best question. What's that question? So you're sitting there, you're talking to somebody at a party, you've been introduced to somebody, and hey, I've got a group of 1 or 2 or 3 people. Can you help me out? And you say, sure, no problem. That's easy. Let's set up a time to talk, not at this party or whatever the circumstances are. We'll set up a time to talk over the phone. I'll come and see you at your office, whatever makes sense to you and your business strategy. But, you ask the question, do you want a plan that covers all of your expenses or just certain ones? And then you shut up. You ask the question, do you want a plan, Mr. Prospect, Mrs. Prospect, that covers all of your expenses or just certain ones? And they're going to go, I kind of want a plan that covers all of my expenses. That's what they're going to say. Yeah, I want a plan that covers all of my expenses. Oh, okay. Well, geez, you've looked into some of those Manulife plans. I'm not picking on Manulife. Geez, I want to be like Manulife when I grow up, because I just saw an article today that they made, $1.2 billion in the last quarter. Yeah, I want to be like Manulife. Trust me, I'm not picking on Manulife. But it's, hey, they looked at Manulife plans and they don't cover all your expenses, so they don't work. So, excuse me, you want a plan that covers all of your expenses or just certain ones? And if they have an employee or a few employees, do you want a plan that gives your employees flexible coverage with 100% cost control to you? Or do you want the opposite? That gives your employees no flexibility and you've got zero cost control. So I always like to ask these 2 questions. Hey, great, Mr. Prospect, Mr. Buddy at the cocktail party or backyard barbecue or the cottage dock party. Yeah, I can help you out with benefits. Do you want a plan that covers all of your expenses or just certain ones? Okay, all of them. Excellent. And for your employees, do you want to cover a plan that gives your employees flexibility as well as puts you in 100% cost control as the business owner? Yeah, I want one of those ones. Terrific. So these are 2 great questions. So define benefit, define contribution. Let's look at a couple of case studies here. Case study number 1, specialty electrical contractor, he's got 2 spouses. They're from Utah. Specialty electrical contractor, spouse with 2 children. Very rough idea what his expenses are. He wants everything covered, and he's got 1 valuable employee. This electrical contractor is really kind of interesting. I met him through a broker friend of mine, and he has more business that he can shake a screwdriver at, that's for sure, because he gets all of his business from other electrical contractors that just don't want to do this real specific specialty that he does. And he's got 1 valuable employee that does all of the quoting for him. So it's awesome. He just walks in and does what he loves to do and leaves. And then the other employee has already set the price and does all the collections and so on. So the specialty electrical contractor, he's got a spouse, he's got those 2 kids, knows roughly what his expenses are, and he just wants everything covered. So what we did is we set him up in the Smart Business Owners Benefit Plan. We set a budget for $15,000. Set a budget at $15,000, leaving him after the administration $12,750 to pay his claims. If claims are less than budget, he's going to have a surplus. If more than budget, he's going to have a deficit. He gets that instantly. He understands that. And we also set up a benefit plan for his employee, and we set a healthcare spending account amount plus the insurance of $2,400. $200 a month roughly, or not roughly, $200 a month going into his plan plus the administration and insurance premiums. But the guy's got $2,400 to spend on whatever expenses that he wants. So the result of this is the $15,000 divided by the 12 months is $1,250 a month. The 15% admin fee is built into the rates. The $2,400 a month is $2,400 a year, pardon me, divided by 12 months, $200 a month per the employee. Plus we add the the admin charges, and we add the taxes and the premium for the insurance. So the costs are really easy to calculate, and the result, which is more importantly, the result, which is more important than the cost, is the client knows that all of the routine expenses are going to be covered at 100%, and he's accepted the financial responsibility for those claims. So the black hat made a decision for the white hat saying, hey, great, you know what? We're going to cover you for all of your expenses, and we know that if they're more than budget, we're going to have to owe the benefits trust some money. If they're less than budget, then we're going to get a refund. The employee has flexibility, and the employer has cost control. The employee didn't have any benefits. Now, all of a sudden, the employee has benefits in the tune of $2,400 in their healthcare spending account. And this works out extraordinarily well because the employer, the black hat in this case, knows exactly what his budget is. The client knows he and his family and his employee are protected from certain catastrophic events. Most importantly, the decision was made in 10 minutes because the questions were asked correctly, and we just went down this road, and it just made nothing but sense to the client, and the broker has a new client. Now, the interesting thing here is the broker has this new client, and the broker friend of mine, was introduced to this gentleman and this specialty electrical contractor, and asked him a couple of questions, and 10 minutes later, he's got a new client, and then he's got an opportunity to sell this relatively wealthy gentleman with spouse and two kids, more of his services. The broker's got this new client. So very simple, very straightforward. Next case, a little bit different. This guy's interesting as well. He got introduced to him again through a broker friend of mine, and he's now this guy's become a friend of mine as well. Lives close by me in Newmarket. Anyways, real estate property company. This guy's a real estate property owner. He has a profitable business, extraordinarily profitable business with his children. One of his children is 25 and the other is 20, and they're both on the payroll. The client has an unlimited budget to spend on benefits, and he also has diabetes. And the employee's spouse works, and she has a very limited plan. So here's this rich dude that owns a bunch of commercial real estate. He's got his kids on the payroll, and they do actually work for him. Somewhat limited, but they do work for him. The client has an unlimited budget to spend, and he's got a disability, or not disability, he's got diabetes, and he wants a solution. So the Smart Business Owner's Benefit Plan, we introduced this to him again through the broker, and he picked up on it right away, and we set up a benefit plan for him where a healthcare spending account amount was set at $20,000 for the owner's spouse and the 20-year-old child that works for him part-time that's also in school full-time. We also set up a separate healthcare spending account to the tune of $1,500 for his 25-year-old daughter, in this case, with no catastrophic coverage. She doesn't work the 24 hours a week in the real estate property business that's required for the minimum number of hours for that insurance. So there's two healthcare spending accounts set up, for the owner of the spouse and the 20-year-old, and one for his daughter, and the daughters did not include the pooled benefits. So why did we choose to set up a healthcare spending account here, Mike? Why did we choose to set up a healthcare spending account and as opposed to just 100% defined benefit plan?
Because before you set the plan up, another company was paying for certain expenses. You want them to continue to do so. So
his spouse's plan was paying for certain expenses, and the healthcare spending account is always the second payer. Yeah, so he wanted to utilize his wife's company plan as much as possible because it's a second payer, and then utilize the dollars in his healthcare spending account. So the healthcare spending account, again, $20,000. Is the secondary plan, $1,500 for his one employee who's his daughter as well. The admin is set at 15%. Insurance, this is a year or so ago, the insurance is set at $50 a month or $603.60 a year. So the total cost was $25,328.60 per year in taxes. The result is the spousal plan always pays first in this case because he doesn't have a benefit. He's got a benefit plan, but it's a healthcare spending account, and the healthcare spending account is always the last payer. So the spouse's plan pays first for some of his basic meds and so on, and then all of the rest of the stuff can be covered through the healthcare spending account. The client is happy because all the expenses not covered under his spouse's plan will be paid with tax-effective dollars. Also, he's got out-of-country coverage in place. The client knows that all of his daughter's expenses are taken care of. She works about 5 hours a week. And importantly here as well is all of a sudden, again, within one meeting in this particular individual's garage, we had, I helped out the broker on this, but this broker had a client with a premium of $25,000 a year for this one family, and the broker has a new client, and this guy has an extraordinary amount of commercial real estate. That's what I was looking for, commercial real estate, that he manages, and is extraordinarily wealthy. And all of a sudden, this broker has weaseled his way in to a professional relationship with this guy because of having his diabetic expenses covered in a tax-effective way. That was it. All right, third case study. Doctor in private practice, spouse, 3 young children. Child with special needs, no spousal benefit plan, no employees. Quite common. Maybe not children with special needs, but a doctor in private practice. They're kind of running on their own. Again, spouse, 3 young children. And in this particular case, they have a child with special needs. And what do? Well, the broker introduced the Smart Business Owners Benefit Plan, 100% coverage plus the catastrophic coverage. The budget was set annually, starting with a $30,000 budget with a 15% admin charge that was built right into the rates. The client said, the doctor said, doctors are incredibly busy people, or they think they're very busy. Oh, we have a lawnmower right outside our window. Pardon me. Anyways, the client said this is too easy. Like, this is too good to be true. And the broker was reiterating the story to me, and saying the doctor is an extraordinarily busy person, and really didn't have a lot of time to see him, but saw the broker and explained this situation to him, and he said this is perfect. And the doctor was saying this is just simply way too easy, but the doctor accepts full responsibility. He was paying for the stuff anyway. And now he just showed him a way to pay for these things as a 100% tax deductible business expense. As simple as that. The result is the client likes the idea of the security of the pooled benefits. The out-of-country coverage was a big deal for him, as well as the stop lots. In other words, for large in-Canada claims. He's a doctor. He knows that there are catastrophic drugs out on the marketplace that, God forbid, he may have to take at some point in the future. He also likes the annual budgeting with monthly financial statements, so he can see where he is every single month. The decision was made in 10 minutes, and now the broker has a new client. And this client's a doctor and needs living benefits and some other things as well. So the broker was pretty excited to be working with this doctor. So the plan fits. What plan fits where? And this is really Mike's line, and maybe you can expand on it a bit, Mike. But the client's needs drive directions and decisions.
Well, it's one of those things. I think a lot of brokers go into meetings knowing what they're going to sell, and you can't do that. You have to react based on the information that you're given from the clients.
Yeah, and you got to ask some great questions. Do you want all your expenses covered, or just these expenses covered? Do you want an employee benefit plan for your employees that puts you in complete 100% cost control, but also gives them some flexibility, or do you want the opposite of that? And so you get a direction on where they're going. Then all of a sudden it's, does your spouse have a plan? Like in that second example. So the client's needs really drive the direction and which path you're going to go down and the decisions that are made, without a doubt. So the Smart Business Owners Benefit Plan covers clients who want everything covered, clients that just want to pay for things that they're going to buy anyway in a just more tax effective manner. It's also great for groups with multiple owners that want everything covered, and sort out the cost sharing internally at the end of the next year, or the end of the year. It's as simple as that. But really, excuse me, Smart Business Owner Benefit Plan also covers clients that have a fixed budget for certain things, the clients that have spousal coverage, like we were just talking about, groups with multiple owners that want to offer the same to each, or individual employees that the client has a fixed budget for. So, for example, we've got a few, not many, but we certainly do have a few where people are the first Canadian employee of a U.S. company or a foreign company, and they've hired somebody in Canada to, solve a problem that they've got in Canada. It's as simple as that, where they've got one employee or two employees. So this is a great solution for that as well. Regardless, the plan has insurance, reimbursement, and administration. And these are three important components, and all three are included in the Smart Business Owners Benefit Plan: insurance, reimbursement, and administration. Regardless of the type of plan that's put into place, there has to be an employer-employee relationship. There's got to be those T4 earnings. The company has to be profitable. This is not for the faint of heart. This isn't for someone that's trying to hope, as Mike said earlier, to clear $30,000 this year. This is for people that want to have their expenses covered, and they're profitable, and they are making money. Simple as that. So what makes us a little bit different, and when we're providing these types of services, the Benefits Trust Administration solution, we answer the phone. This is something that was interesting. I was with a broker yesterday that I've known for many, many years, and we were in the client's office doing an employee meeting, and we were chatting with the group. And I said, one of the things that makes us different at the Benefits Trust is we answer your questions. We answer the phone. If you have a question, give us a call. You're going to forget about our meeting about 30 meters after you walk out of the office. As I like to say, it's a 30-second or 30-meter guarantee that they're going to remember something. But we're going to answer the phone. One thing I want you to remember is we're going to answer the phone. So if you have a question, give us a call. We're going to answer the phone. We're going to ask you some security questions, and then we're going to ask you answer your questions. We've got drug card capabilities, online capabilities, email capabilities. We've got a claim-paying app, flexibility. We pay commissions. We do all of these wonderful things. Again, this is the same as if you've got a 1-person plan, a 10-person plan, or a 100-person plan. These are the things that we do. We've got this great claims-paying app where the client, it's simple to use. They download the app on their phone. They take a picture of a hospital claim, or not a hospital claim, a chiropractic claim, for example, or a vision care claim. Just take a picture of it right at the point of purchase of their paid receipt, and they're going to get press submit. They're going to get an email back right away, and then within 24 hours, they're going to get money into their account.
It means receipts don't just go into a pile and get lost until the end of the year.
They get lost.
Yeah.
Until ever.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
when I go to a massage, because I actually value massage, if I go to a massage therapist, right when I get the receipt, I put it down on the counter, take a picture, click send, it's out of my hands, money's in my account the next day. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Really? Where did you get that service? Oh, here at the Benefits Trust. Thank you, Mike. Well, it's funny because I go to athletic therapy, which is a covered expense, and I go to athletic therapy, and I was in the therapist's office, and I took a screenshot. I took a picture of her screen. I didn't even take a picture of the receipt, so she didn't have to print it off.
We probably shouldn't have paid that.
Anyways, it was all paid. It's all good. So the Benefits Trust provides superior administration service that'll strengthen your relationship with your clients, not compromise it. That's my point, right? You want to look for the best provider, not the lowest cost provider. This isn't a race to the bottom. And it's interesting because, that's critical to know. Here's a guy that, was spending $25,000 a year, made a decision in 10 minutes, didn't care, wanted it taken care of, understood it. There was an element of trust involved. He got it. And he didn't balk at that 15% administration charge, which includes commission. And when we've had people say, hey, I can get this cheaper somewhere else, I go, terrific, knock your socks off, right? Don't really care. It's about value. And we allow people to run surpluses. We allow people to run deficits. We provide monthly financial statements. All of the boxes are checked. It's all in place. Do you really want to compromise this level of service, for some your wealthiest clients? It's as simple as that, or your potentially wealthiest clients. This isn't a race to the bottom. It's as simple as that. So the pitch, and we've never had or rarely had an issue with that, but the pitch, really, if I could show you a way to pay for things that you're going to buy anyway in the most tax effective way possible while adding valuable protection, would this be of interest to you? Close your mouth, shut up. Right, simple as that. So you ask a couple of questions. But really, after you ask a couple of questions, do you want all of your expenses covered or just these? You've got a few employees in place. Okay, terrific. Do you want a plan for them that's sustainable and provides flexibility and maximizes the amount of cost control? Yep. Okay, that's super. Does your spouse have a plan? You're getting those basic facts down. All of this can happen in a conversation with just in a few minutes. And then it's saying, if I could show you a way to pay for things that you're going to buy anyway in the most tax effective way possible while adding valuable protection, would this be of interest to you? I'm going to say, absolutely. Great. So what have you done? You just created this value opportunity that's going to maximize the cost going into the plan, which maximizes your commission, as opposed to saying, hey, let me come up with a couple of quotes from the insurance companies and, show you which is the best one.
Yeah, you got them to buy in about 18 seconds into the meeting.
Yeah, so you're showing them a way that they can pay for everything they're buying anyway in just the most tax effective way possible.
Sort out the rest of the details later.
Simple as that. But it's fascinating because it's a mindset change that we see a lot of people go through, and you see the wheels turning, and then all of a sudden the light goes off, and they never look back. They never look back. So objections. Some of the objections we get, and there's three main objections that we get more often than not. Excuse me. Get some water here. The first one is, why don't I just claim this on my taxes? Because that's what my accountant's been kind of doing. And the answer to that is the amount that you can actually claim on your taxes is really minimal. It's and I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it really is minimal. So when we talk to accountants about this, they go, "Oh yeah, this makes nothing but sense." So the amount that you can actually claim on your taxes is, it's a tiny little bit, I think, and it's also maxed out, I think, at about $2,300 a year or something. I don't know exactly. I'm not a tax expert. I've never want to be a tax expert. But I just know that it's a minimal amount. And yes, we do have the details here somewhere, but it's a minimal amount. And the other one that I've heard a number of times is my spouse has a plan and it's decent enough. That's great. Well, that's super. But how often do you reach into your pocket and pay for things with after-tax dollars? And what does decent enough mean? Does it cover your kids' orthodontia? No. Do you have kids with, need for private school? No. Oh, okay. Or yes, we do. Or, yeah, hold on a second. Maybe we do reach into our pocket a lot.
Or maybe you stopped going to physiotherapy because you ran out.
Yeah, you ran out. I hate that word, ran out. Yeah. But all of a sudden you start questioning the decent enough thing. And it's kind of interesting because all of a sudden they realize what things can be covered on a benefit plan that maybe they aren't being covered under the existing plan. So that's where you get into those conversations. The other thing that's interesting is a lot of, you've got an employer that's got maybe he or she has one employee, but their spouse has a plan, and they go, yeah, well, I'm not going to set up a benefit plan for the two of us when one of us already has benefits. Here's a way that you can work around that. Yeah, it's decent enough. Well, not really. So we're going to put a plan in place that's going to help you with that decent enough component. And we're also going to put a plan in place for your employee, so you're not wasting any money. You're just creating and maximizing value. The other one is, what if my needs change over time? Okay, great. We're going to set up this plan and we're going to set up a $25,000 budget, for example, or whatever the circumstances are. But what happens next year when the twins already have their braces on? What happens? Well, if your needs change over time, which everybody's needs change over time, that's for sure, so does your budget. Your budget mirrors your needs. It's as simple as that. Your budget mirrors your needs. So it can go up, it can go down. All of a sudden, Mike, you've got two kids. How old are they now?
9 and 12.
9 and 12. So your 12-year-old is going to need braces in the next couple of years, but your 9-year-old isn't. Yeah. So all of a sudden, if you were, on your own, you could set up a plan where it's, ballooned in 1 year and then down for a couple of years and then ballooned back up. Simple as that. So what if your needs change over time? Your budget mirrors your needs. As simple as that. So the Smart Business Owner's Benefit Plan. Mike, are we going to send a link to this as well?
We will.
We'll send a link to this with your CE credit so you can see what it looks like with the details, because we're not going to go through the details. We're not going to go through too much of the details. Just want to show you a highlight. But this is a package that we put together. This package can be, a link can be emailed. The whole thing can be emailed. You can print it off. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. We've got people that never leave their office and sell these things all day long. It's kind of great. So it can be done over the phone. It can be done in a number of different ways, but the package is all inclusive. And table of contents about the plan, coverage for owners, coverage for employees, calculate your plan's costs. So there's a calculation form built right in. Plan enrollment forms are all there. Application and checklist submission guidelines are there. How the plan works. And then, as I like to say, the plan details the fine print. So it's all inclusive in this one package. but it just sort of very simply talks about what kind of coverage do you want. Do you want unlimited coverage, or do you want limited coverage, yes or no? And it takes you down, a couple of different paths. And this works very well with the questions that we've talked about. And it explains, again, without going into the details here, but it explains what's available and how it all works. So we encourage you to visit thebenefitstrust.com. All of this is on our website. As well as that, we're going to be sending you a link to this particular document, but it just works and works right now. So as I like to say is, show your smart business owner your smart business owner clients a better, more tax advantage solution than what's available off the shelf. And as I like to say, show your clients true value. You're going to maximize the value to your clients. You're going to find a more expensive solution, not a cheaper solution. That's not providing value necessarily in a lot of business owners' cases, smart business owners' cases. Those business owners that have T4 earnings, those business owners that are making money, those business owners that are in business and they know business is going to be good into the future. Show your client true value. It's as simple as that. As I like to say, this is a great door opener, and this is a great way to sell them other products and get referrals. I've been working with a broker for many, many years. This one particular guy, and he was in to see me, and we were sort of shooting the breeze one afternoon. And he was telling me, he goes, I was saying to this guy, you're selling a lot of our stuff, and we really appreciate that. That's great. Is there anything we can do to help you? And he goes, you know what? I just use this stuff as a door opener. He uses the Smart Business Owners Plan as well as our other solutions. And he goes, I use this stuff as a door opener. This is 5%. The money that we make from you is 5% of my earnings. The other 95% comes from other items that I sell these clients. It's simple as that. It's a great door opener. You can use this to sell other products and get referrals. Commissions, they're built right in. 5% commission is built right in, or whatever you can negotiate. Some people say, hey, I don't want any commissions because I have sold this client a whole bunch of other stuff and I just want to keep the fence around them. Or other people say, I don't care. It's 10%. Build it in. I go, terrific. We'll build it in. No problem. Just tell us what it is that you want and we'll arrange the documentation accordingly. It's entirely up to you, but we've got a 5% commission built in. So as I like to say is, you're sticking your hooks in the in the client when you're selling this. And when you're selling them one product, you're sticking your hook in just a bit. When you're selling them 2 products or more, you're sticking your hook in quite a bit. And when you're selling them 3 or 4 products, you really got your hooks in that particular client. Again, a terrific door opener, great way to get in front of a client, unthreatening way. You can get to yes or no very quickly. So we talked about the Smart Business Owners Benefit Plan within the last hour here. We've talked about the Smart Business Owners Benefit Plan, how to determine what plan works best for your clients, and ask them that one question. It's simple as that. Really, you can get this all done with just a series of questions. But you ask them that one question right out of the gate is do you want all your expenses covered, or you just want some of your expenses covered? They might say, oh, geez, I want all of my expenses covered, but what does that mean? Then you've started a conversation. You engage them in a conversation. It's just the greatest thing in the world to have conversations with clients when you ask them the right questions. And then we talked about how to deal with objections. So we've covered a lot here in the last hour, and we greatly appreciate it. But the answer that I think is critical the point that I think is critical here is how to deliver this one-person plan profitably. And the answer is get to yes or no very quickly. Yes pays you, no teaches you, and maybe kills you. It's as simple as that. But you want to get to yes very quickly. Or no very quickly. And by asking those very simple, pointed questions, really you can understand where the client is coming from. And again, it separates. Hey, all of a sudden someone says, hey, I want you to help me put in a benefit plan for myself and for myself. And we're hoping to clear $30,000 this year. They don't really have a need. Right. And you don't want to waste a lot of time with that person. Not that it's a wasting time, but you don't want to waste a lot of time with that person talking about benefits because initially it's not going to be a significant opportunity. So you can say, hey, sorry, I've asked you, as opposed to doing a whole pile of work and then coming back with some quotes and they go, oh yeah, you know what? We really don't have the money for that. We didn't think it was going to be that expensive. So we can't go ahead with this project. Meanwhile, you've invested 10 hours. We want you to invest 10 minutes and get to yes or no quickly. So we encourage you to visit thebenefitstrust.com. We've got a very robust website. There's a lot of valuable information on our website. Go to the Advisor Resource Center. There's videos on there as well. But the Advisor Resource Center has a number of different things associated with that you can use. There's a Smart Business Owner's Guide to Healthcare Spending Accounts on there. It's a great ebook. All sorts of information that you can use on our website. And we encourage you to use it however it is that makes sense in your organization. I know Mike gets upset when I say this, but plagiarize the shit out of anything you want. Don't really care. Just go out and sell more group insurance, and we'll get our share. We'd love to do business with you. If we're not doing business with you, we want to do business with you. If we are doing business with you, thank you very much, and we want to do more business with you. But most importantly, our time is up, and I want to thank you for your time, and thank you for participating today, and thank you for missing the traffic wherever you are. We want to wish you good selling for the rest of the summer and into certainly the fall of 2019 as we get close to the end of the year. So exciting times. We're in the second half. Let's keep the motivation going. Thank you for your time. At the end of the presentation today, you are going to get a CE certificate for participating. You're going to get a survey. The survey is going to give us some feedback on how we can do this better tomorrow. And then we did it today. As well as that, folks, we're going to be asking for topics that you want to see covered in future webinars. Send in a topic. We'd love to hear back from you. And we're going to send you a link to the Smart Business Owner's Guide, Smart Business Owner's Benefit Plan. Pardon me.
For you independent advisors out there, if you are intrigued by this idea of this plan in general, you can use this for yourself. For brokers, we will do this for 5%. We assume you're going to waive your commission just so that you can try it out yourself, so that you understand how it works, so you're more comfortable selling it to your clients.
Best place to, yeah, you got to own it to sell it, as I like to say. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Mike. Great point. So on behalf of Mike and I and all of us at the Benefits Trust, we want to take this opportunity to say thanks for your time. It's just before 11 o'clock, so we've spent an hour together. Again, reach out to us and say hello. We're going to reach out to you in a number of different ways and sign you up for our Trusted Advisor newsletter. Any questions that you've got, let us know. If you're interested in white labeling this in any way, shape, or form for an association type of group or talking more about association type of groups, we'd be happy to do that for you. But again, we want to help you sell more of this stuff. It's as simple as that. Remember, an employee benefit plan is a promise between an employer and an employee. And especially in these micro groups, use that black hat, white hat illustration because it makes a lot of sense with employers. You get their head nodding up and down and then ask them those great questions. You know, do you want everything covered or you just want certain things covered? Simple as that. Have fun out there. Good selling. Bye for now.